sharing Soroptimist stories, adventures in Kenya. We're just going to give everybody a couple of seconds to get settled and into the room. And yeah, thanks again.
Good
So
morning. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. It's Hamasa, New West and Burnaby members. I'm just wondering if this recording, where I can find the recording, because I'm feeling really sick. I just joined because I don't want to miss the information. But if I can have access to the recording, I will.
the event is being recorded, and
Yeah.
we'll send out a link after the event to
Oh,
the
that's amazing.
people who signed up. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. I think I can't stay longer because I'm coughing and I have fever, bad headaches. I'm sorry about that. But I was wondering, because I do want to get the information, and if possible, I will have access to the recording. That would be awesome.
For sure. Okay,
Thank
well,
you so much.
feel better soon, Hamasa.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye
Bye.
now. Bye.
Okay, so this is great. So we've got 45 people so far who have joined us. There were about 70 odd who signed up, so there might be a few people joining in a bit, but we're looking forward to having everybody here. So what I want to start off with is to just introduce everyone to our panelists for today. And the panelists are myself. I'm Chari Grant. I'm the governor of Western Canada region for 2024-2026. Then we also have, and actually, if I could get the panelists to use the little raise hand icon, and so that people will be able to see you. So Sharon Fisher, Connie Cameron, Megan Eastwood, Khayanga Wasike, Colleen Schmidt. Oh, the raise hand, not the little react button. Colleen, do you see the one that says raise hand? And yeah, Colleen Schmidt. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and Colleen will figure out how to raise her hand. There,
yes.
it should be a separate button from the react one.
Somehow I'm not finding it.
Sometimes it's within the react. There would be a little hand that raises. Anyway, so these are our panelists, and this group is the group who was able to go to Kenya in October. We went from we were there from October 18th through November 3rd or November 4th of this year. And we traveled to Kenya under the auspices of Khayanga Wasike. And I'm going to actually give everybody a little opportunity to meet each of the panelists before we have our discussion. So I'm just going to quickly start with Sharon Fisher. If you just want to introduce yourself, Sharon.
Sure, this is just a quick one, right?
Yeah, just a very quick introduction.
Yeah, Sharon Fisher, and I'm the past international president during the Road to Equality campaign that gave birth to Soroptimist engagement in this project. And I'll talk more later. Thank you. It's
Great.
part of the Road to Equality. We're on the bus again.
And I'm going to do Megan Eastwood next.
Hello, Megan Eastwood, current president of Tri-Cities.
Great.
You might want to say Western Canada region.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Some people might not know.
Thanks, Sharon.
Hi, I am Khayanga Wasike, and I am the founder of Lugari Youth Leadership and Mentorship Camp, and also the host of the camp, and very excited to be on this call tonight. Thank you.
Perfect. Colleen Schmidt.
Colleen Schmidt from SI Abbotsford Mission in Western Canada region, and also past governor. And yes, we were not only on the bus, we were on the bus with a lot of suitcases.
So true. Connie Cameron.
Hi, Connie Cameron. I'm SI Palm Springs in the US, in California. I'm currently the secretary of that and District 2 Live Your Dreams chair. So nice to meet everybody.
Perfect. Okay. So the first thing that I want to do is just have Khayanga tell us a little bit about how the leadership camp, the Lugari Leadership Camp, started.
Can I interrupt for a second? I'm Connie Panicky. I didn't register, so you probably didn't know I was here. But anyway, I was on the trip too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's several people that were also on the trip. Because we did have 13 of us all together, and we'll go through who else was on the trip in a little bit, and we'll have a chance to get introduced to those people as well. Yeah, so Khayanga, if you would give us just a little bit of a background on the Lugari Girls Leadership Camp, how this came to be, that would be really fantastic.
Thank you so much, Governor Chari, for giving me this opportunity. I didn't know I was going to be the first one to say something, but here I am. So yes, Lugari Youth Leadership and Mentorship Camp started in 2011. And I would say the passion behind it was my moving from rural Kenya to settle in Canada, and realizing when I was in Canada that there were many opportunities that women had, which growing up I didn't have in the village, and also realizing that the girls in rural or in developing countries had a lot of challenges to just step up, acquire their own confidence, self-esteem, and just believe in themselves. So I was a high school teacher before I became a social worker. And so knowing also the background that I had gone through, and even as a teacher, what the girls were struggling with, I thought, given a chance for them to be able to get together and learn the very basic things that they need, or acquire skills that they need to be able to step up and bring change to their communities, would be one really, really meritorious act. And so I slowly by slowly chose to move back home to help out with the community in different projects. But then my desire was to build a school for girls, a school of excellence for girls. And when I came back, I realized there was so much poverty in the community. Just building a school alone wasn't going to change, especially food security and just general challenges in the village. So I ended up founding a community learning resource center for everybody in the community. But then I kept on thinking, I'm missing out in these girls. What am I going to do so that the girls can learn all these things that I was dreaming about? And then I thought, if they could come together for a week just to learn the skills and come from all over the country, maybe that could give an opportunity to the young girls to learn something. And so that was the birth of the Leadership and Mentorship Camp. And since 2011, I was just going everywhere, fundraising every year to try and make sure that the program was on, and the girls came from all over the country to learn the skills. And then in 2019, I met Sharon Fisher when she was the president-elect, and we talked about the program, and she found out what we were doing, and she was very interested, and that is how Soroptimist joined in. But I had already invited the Soroptimists of Eldoret, who are my club, my current club, and they had come in a couple of times just to see what we do. And yeah, so coming in with the Soroptimist International on the road to equality, I think it changed the status quo of the program, and it has grown stronger and stronger. And yeah, that's why I'm very excited to be on this call today, just to share with everyone that the results of this camp are just out of this world. And so we are building some little monsters. I hope these women will be able to take over the world in future, because when you see them after the camp, it's something else to really, really be humbling ourselves about. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Khayanga. I just love that for everyone to hear that story. Okay, so we are going to move on and actually talk to Sharon Fisher about the involvement of Soroptimist and the road to equality with the program in Lugari, and how it ended up that Sharon brought last year and this year these groups of Soroptimists to Kenya to the leadership camp.
Thanks, Chari. So many of you will remember during my presidency, the theme was the road to equality, and I invited everybody to get on the bus. I don't think anybody knew what was on the bus, but they all wanted on the bus, so that was a good thing. And it was to go around the world and learn about issues that impacted women and girls. And it was a great idea until 2020, when I started my term, and this little thing called COVID shut the world down. So the bus became virtual, and transportation was our webinars. And so we still retained our focus on these projects. And my dream ever since 2009, when I was fortunate to travel to Sierra Leone on a study tour for the Quadrennial Project, which was Hope and Homes for Children, I believe. And it was life-changing. And I thought, if I ever get the chance, I need to try and do this and share this opportunity with more members. So in 2020, the camp was canceled. So Khayanga and I agreed that we could finish a building instead, so we could start talking about it. Otherwise, there wasn't really a project. So many of us sat in that building and spent many days this year and last in that building. But in 2021, travel was still a bit unpredictable, and because COVID was still going on. And also we were hosting our 100th anniversary the same time that Khayanga was hosting the camp. So that couldn't happen. And the next year, 2022, I fully intended to go myself. And I got COVID about 60 days before. And many of you know I'm a last minute planner, but and so I really didn't want to make the plans to go because I didn't know what the rules were going to be. So there was just a little bit of money left in the account, enough to do one more year almost. And I said to Khayanga, let's do 2023 and I'm going to come. And I'm going to see if I can bring some people. And so that's what happened. So in Dublin, with the last bit of money that we'd committed, I invited anybody who was interested to come and find me and make a commitment to join the trip. So 8 others besides myself did just that, including someone from Germany who we didn't even know had heard the announcement and was there on arrival. I see several of the people from last year on the call. Sue Riney and I were fairly instrumental in getting our group organized. And it was just so amazing that several of us, Lola Abrahamian, said, we need to do this again. And Sue Riney's busy this year doing her SIA things. But Lola said, we needed money because that was what was going to make it. And we thought if we could own the camp, if we could be totally Soroptimist funded, a Soroptimist led project, this would be a good thing. So in 2023, when we went, one of the highlights was chartering a new club. And this club consisted of graduates from the program over the 10, 12 years that it had been happening. It was amazing to see these girls at 13, 14, 15, and then see them at 23, 24, 25 after that experience. It was absolutely amazing to see how many of them wanted to have their own NGO. They wanted to rule the world. They wanted to be president of the country. They were changing the world. And it was so inspirational. We thought, well, we've got to do this again. So Lola suggested that I come to California. We approached the SI Foundation. They were not able to accommodate us. And so without the money, we couldn't participate. So Lola said, well, come down to the regions in Southern California. They're always extremely generous, and let's see what we can do. So between Lola and the following weekend, Pat Whitaker, the governors at the time of those two regions, we raised almost $20,000 in that 2 weeks. And several other clubs locally in Western Canada, and other clubs, including those who had traveled with us the year before, also participated. And we were able to raise the money. Khayanga was over the moon, of course, because she was waiting with bated breath, but we did it. So we had gone through a list. I kept saying, well, if you're interested, let me know. And I started a list, and I took the first 16 or 17 people. I thought, well, maybe 5 of them will commit for sure. Oh no, there was only 2 that couldn't commit, and it was because they'd already booked another trip somewhere. Half of them were already across the world traveling, but were still committing. So it was so good because we established we could really only take 12, maximum 13. So we got those people settled, and we were off. It was amazing. We also, in the first year we were there, we met these young girls, and I have to say that some of the highlights were Shailene, who I see is on the call. Right after she became a member, within the first month, was already on the website and found the opportunity to apply to be a UN rep in Nairobi. And Sue spoke with her, I spoke with her, we sort of prompted her and supported her, and she's now a youth delegate in Nairobi, living her dream. She said, I've always dreamed to be involved at the UN. So it was, it's those kinds of things that ignite the passion on what difference we can make with these girls. So we're now looking at 2024 because we would like to keep this going. And I assume it's okay to say something because every club in Canada was on the meeting, but we approached our Canadian Soroptimist Foundation for some funding because the Willing Hearts Society is a Canadian registered charity. So it allows them to advance money to that charity. And they have graciously agreed with our thinking and have committed to half of the funding for this camp for the next 5 years. So I will now go back to the SI Foundation again, and also with some of the initiatives. I know Megan's got some initiatives going to assist us in raising the rest of the money so that we can have some sustainability and be the sole funder of this camp well, at least for 5 years. You have to pick a number, and that seemed like a good number, because every year that we take members, they come back and share the stories, and people are more committed to our organization. They understand the impact. They understand the international engagement. It's a beautiful thing to watch, and they're so inspired. I had heard from a couple of club members of clubs where members attended and shared their stories when they got back. And the words were, it was life-changing. And I know that was my experience in Sierra Leone. So between the safari we did, the visit to the elephant sanctuary, having dinner with our lead UN rep in Nairobi, and visiting, I think, 5 different clubs in Kenya, and the highlight being the leadership camp. It was amazing. And you can only do these tours if you've got a safe place to stay, you've got some Soroptimists on the ground to host you, and you've got a project that 12 women can land in and do some good. And those features are also important. And this particular project, there's many projects in Africa, but this project lends itself to all of those things. So it's more than this project. It's about the organization itself and inspiring our members further. I think that's probably it for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharon. That was really amazing. Okay, hang on one second here.
Oh, and we should say there was 45 members of that new club between the ages of 21 and 34 that were the charter group for that club. And can you imagine, Khayanga's got a waiting list for the next club.
So cool. So cool. So one of the really amazing things that happened when we were at the leadership camp this year is that the Kenyan National News actually did a story about the camp. And so with any luck, I'm going to be able to share that video. I hope it's going to work for us. So let me see if this is going to work. Shall we? I just have to get it queued up here.
Did you push the sound button before you started? Oh, there.
Roles in government, speaking in Musembe technical and vocational training, where over 200 empowerment training on leadership, the organizers said women have equal capacity as men to lead. During the graduation, the students expressed their hope of being future positions in government, urging the government and other organizations to come up with school programs to empower more girls in the country. They also called upon men in the society to protect women against femicide cases, which are rampant in the country.
For this reason, I'm sure that the world is going to change, and in Kenya, there will be many seats for women. There's sessions on financial literacy, there is human resource management, there's career talks, there's health talks, and they're even given skills that they can use when they go back into their communities. They even taught project management. This is something that most people do not understand. The girls get to bring out their potential in leadership, it's nurtured, and they get skills, life skills, mainly around leadership. This is a workshop that is important to these young girls because they're mainly girls Form 1 and Form 2, where we can nurture them.
That's why we need to teach like young girls leadership skills and have them focus on getting their education and going out into the world and showing the world what young girls and women can do.
We need people like you to take our place, and you are the perfect role model to do that.
Education matters now as pupils and
There we go. Hopefully that came through.
Sort of.
Yeah, so that was very exciting, and we had an opportunity when we went. The small group of us went on a tour of Nairobi, and we showed our tour guides, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, we know that newscaster." They were very impressed that we were on the news. So that was really fun. So the next person that I want to speak to is when we traveled, there were 6 Canadians on the trip, and there were 7 Americans, and we do have one of our American sisters joining us today, and that is Connie Cameron. And Connie, if you would just like to tell us a little bit about how you heard about the trip and what made you decide you wanted to participate.
So I was at our Golden West region of California spring conference, and our governor-elect at the time, Liz Gloca, knows my love of Africa. Liz and I've been friends for over 50 years, and I've always had an affiliation with Africa. I've been there 5 times to the continent, and she said, you need to talk to Lola, and you need to find Sharon, and they're doing something in Kenya I think you'd be interested in. And so I tracked down Sharon, and then I tracked down Lola and found out about the program and signed up for the list that day and committed to going. for a multitude of reasons. First, I left part of my heart in Africa 20 years ago on my very first trip, and that was to Kenya and to Tanzania. So I already had a love affair going with the people and just everything about the continent. So when this opportunity came up, it was a way to interact in a different way than I had ever interacted before, because most of the trips I had been on were vacations and they were safaris, and we did some things at some learning facilities and things, but it was never really a volunteer project working directly with the people of Kenya on a one-to-one basis. And so this just was the perfect opportunity. So I signed up, I kept following up with Sharon. I think I was one of her biggest pains because she was traveling a lot. And I'm like, are we still going? Are we still going? Need to make my plans. But the whole interaction with the girls in the camp just is, as you say, life-changing. You see the possibilities and how hungry these girls are for those opportunities. It opens up this part of you that you don't even know you have that needs to be fulfilled. And I made such good connections with people there that will last a lifetime. Khayanga and Anita and Shaylee and all the girls at the camp. But one of the most important things that I wanted to mention, because everyone's going to talk about how wonderful the girls are, how great the whole operation is, how well planned it is, how organized. But this was a chance for 11 women who didn't know each other all that well and most of us are those A personalities, to get together and participate in something and find our way through that interaction to allow those that needed certain or were better at certain things to do their things and share that spotlight to really interact with the girls and bring out the girls in different ways. And I think that it's very important as women in general, not only just to support each other, but to bring to the table what you have to offer, but be willing to step back and let someone else stand up and offer what they have. And sometimes that's hard when you're in clubs with a lot of women that all take charge. And I think that was probably one of the biggest takeaways. Here are all these women, both Kenyan and American and Canadian, getting together with a common goal, and how wonderful.
Thanks so much, Connie. I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. That was absolutely how it felt to participate in this. Thank you for those wonderful insights. So next I am going to have Megan Eastwood. And Megan, do you want to share the story about how you manifested this trip into being? And then let's talk a little bit about the girls, and you shared a special connection with them, and I want to hear a little bit about that. So those are the two things, if you want to tell us about.
Okay, so first off, the manifestation. So those of you who know me, I live a pretty sweet life. I've managed to maneuver myself into living my best life. It's absolutely amazing. And my friend always teases me. One of my friends always teases me. She says, I've never known anyone that can manifest the life she wants better than you. And so this Africa trip was probably the fastest manifestation I have ever done. So it was the Western Canada region this year, 2024. And we just arrived on the Thursday, and I'm retired now. And so I'm giving more back into Soroptimists and getting more involved. And I was just saying to one of my friends, I said, I'm really loving the Soroptimist things and, and all the local work that we're doing, and I'm feeling quite fulfilled. But it'd just be the icing on the cake if we could just get some sort of foreign component, you know, something in South America, something in Africa, just to kind of give that full rounded thing up. That was Thursday. The Saturday, when Sharon was speaking, she happened to stand up and say, hey, we're looking at doing a trip to Africa this fall. If you're interested, let me know. And I think it was the very first tea break, the very first opportunity I could get. I went scooting past her and said, I'm in. Didn't know when, didn't know what. That was that. And I came back and I saw, you know, like once it was all booked and sorted, I saw my friends a couple of months later and she's just like, oh my God, 48 hours. That took you 48 hours to manifest a trip to Africa. So I was like, getting faster.
Amazing, amazing. So now tell us about your experience with the girls at the camp.
So again, for those of you who know me, I am an 8-year-old boy in a middle-aged woman's body. So whenever I get chance to have a laugh and fool around and make noise and move, I will. And for those of you on the trip, you kind of saw that. I did my daily runs. I was doing 5-kilometer laps around the house and what have you. There was constant movement. And I think driving into the camp, one of the girls was doing that. So as we arrived, I went running up to her and joined in. And so one of the things I could bring to camp is to do a yoga class, to do a daily yoga class. So on the very first day, we did a 2-hour session where I learned them some moves. And then at 6 o'clock every morning, it was at 6:30, maybe 6:30 every morning. I arrived at camp just after the girls had breakfast and we did 30 minutes of yoga. And so they'd never even heard of yoga, never mind done it. This was just this alien concept of, so there was no prejudgment of what yoga should be. And so in Canada, yoga is always very silent. And again, you know, like these girls are sitting still all day listening. And this was just about movement and making noise. So, and I wanted to try and help them remember the moves. And so, of course, you know, you've got cat cow. So, you know, as I was trying to get them to remember cat cow, as we did the cat, we hissed, and as we did the cat, we mooed. And then when we were doing cobra, we all hissed like a cobra. But the one that they loved the best was the warrior. And I really love the warrior pose because it's a very strong, fierce pose. And then you go into, is it Maid of Orleans, I think, whatever it is, Joan of Arc, which is very, well, she's a very powerful woman as well. So I had them all at the top of their voice yelling that, and then as we went into the Joan of Arc, it was woo. So every morning you'd hear the 200 girls yelling, woo. And for those of you who follow the Soroptimist Tri-Cities, we actually put the video on, and it's kind of a cool video. And then towards the end of the week, we'd finish each session with just shouting that we were as loud as possible. It's like, I want to wake the next village up. And then when we got to the dancing, oh my God, those girls can dance. You know, like Kenyans can dance. Us white people cannot dance. And so they really went for the dancing. And again, the only time you get to dance at my age is weddings and Christmas. And so we had all this opportunity to dance, so I was going to take it. And I think they were quite shocked to see an old white woman getting down and grooving with them. So I think that kind of opened some doors as well. So we had a laugh. We really had a laugh. But you know, I know what I want to speak to is, I know when you put on the schedule, you know, like about the connection, I actually was trying not to have a connection as much as possible, because my heart went out to those girls, like so much. Like, ladies who haven't been on this trip, you have no idea how lucky we are to be born in the place that we are born in. The obstacles that those girls face, it's like, you see it on the TV and you read it in the news, and it's this thing that happens over there. But when you're actually there and you're seeing the girls and you're seeing the personalities and the desire and the fierceness and just learning some of the obstacles that they have to, huge obstacles that they have to face. It's insane. Just to speak to a couple of things. I mean, the very first class that they have them doing is how to make knickers out of t-shirts, because some of them show up at camp with no knickers. And in a country where rape and incest is so rife, little girls wandering around with no knickers is not a good thing. It doesn't allow them to go out and play. And then when they're having periods, you know, like most of them don't have sanitary towels or Tampax. They're using whatever cloths or whatever it is they can find. Well, when you've no knickers, how does that stay in place? It's just like, it's this concept that we in our country have no idea, like the hurdles that these girls have to face. And so back on the connections, it's like when you're starting to get to know these people and you just see the insurmountable obstacles they've got in front of you. It's like I was trying to put the Teflon coat on and try and not get too connected to them, because it was absolutely, it was depressing that we can't do enough. Like, you know, like I'm so grateful for Soroptimist Western Canada for funding this. Like, oh my God, this is an amazing project. And I hope to God we get some of these girls out and like leading them. We need to get women in places of power. Dear God, we need to get women in places of power. And if we can get some of this next generation, then, you know, they've got a long road ahead of them, but this is how change happens. And it's desperately needed. So when we speak to life changing, I think one of the women put in the chat, what do you mean by life changing? Is I know for me, it's totally like some of us talked about it on the trip, you know, like you come home and you look at spending $200 on an outfit. And now I'm like, oh my God, what could you do with $200 in Kenya? Like, this is an education for someone. It's, you know, the orphanage that we went to, that absolutely blew my mind as well. And it's just, you look at everything very, very differently once you've been somewhere like that. And like here we are, what, a month later, and I still think about those girls every single day, if that answers the life-changing question.
Oh, thank you so much, Megan. That's amazing. And again, I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. So next we are going to speak to Colleen Schmidt. And Colleen, this wasn't your first trip to Africa, but I believe it was your first trip with a service component. Can you give us a bit of an insight into what that was like for you? And then I also wanted to ask you about the Dream It, Be It aspect of this trip, because our delegation spent a day delivering the SIA Dream It, Be It curriculum. And what was that experience like for you? So those are the two things.
Well, I was lucky enough to go to Africa 8 years ago on a family trip, a safari. I realize now how sanitized that trip was, for lack of a better word. We stayed in lovely lodges. We had hot water. We had all kinds of food. We didn't meet a lot of people other than our guides and people who worked at the lodges. So this was completely different, being kind of immersed in Kenyan culture, staying at Khayanga's lovely place, but still, like, you know, things like hot water we take for granted was not always there. The food was nourishing and filling, but not the variety we're used to. I think just the service component made a big difference, being able to feel like you're getting to know people, meeting the Kenyan Soroptimists, seeing their projects. As Megan said, life-changing, definitely. I still sometimes like to stand in the shower and just think about, this is so great having hot water. You know, things you don't think about, we take so for granted. And clean water, just, you know, turning on the tap and drinking the water and not thinking about it. All of those things. You know, some of the girls that I talked to, a few of them had malaria. And so their lives were affected because they never knew when that was going to come back. Things that we so take for granted. That really hits home to me. And I still like Megan, I think about those girls every day. I look at their pictures. I wonder how they're doing. A couple of them have been in touch with me, and you know, they're so bright, they're so eager, and they have so many obstacles. And I hope we can make a difference to them, because you know, it seems so unfair that just by virtue of the country you're born in, we have so much, and they struggle with everything. So that is that part of it. Dream It, Be It was very interesting for me. Many of you in our region know I belong to a very small club. We did Dream It, Be It when it first came out. So that's probably 7, 8 years ago. It seems very long ago. And it seemed like it was a ton of work. And we spent hours and hours and hours planning it, and presented it to maybe 6 girls. So this was completely different, where we had, now granted, it's a different we had a different set of women doing this. I think all of us are pretty good at talking off at the drop of a hat, but to plan it for 200 girls in a couple of hours was really quite something. But to have that captive audience, like I have never seen a group of young women be so attentive, so keen. It was a little bit scary at times, because it felt like you had like 200 sets of eyes laser focused on you, and they were not missing a word you said, which is, I don't know what other people's experience are with teenagers here. I don't have teenagers at home or in my life really, and I find them kind of scary and surly half the time. But this was completely different, and brilliant. And I think, oh, well, if we could do that in a couple of hours, why is my club not doing Dream It, Be It at home? So we are thinking about it now.
That's amazing. Yeah, it really was a very different experience doing Dream It, Be It with these girls, because they were absolutely like so engaged and so thirsty for the connection and the learning. It was really, really cool. Very, very cool.
Oh, I forgot, we did the little career fair component, which I found very interesting, because you know, I was talking about my previous career as a correctional officer, which I don't think any of them had ever considered, and we knew nothing about how the system is in Kenya. But their questions were really insightful and thoughtful. And like, you know, Chari and I were in the same group. You were talking about the legal profession, and Lola was talking about police officer. And it was really, they asked such great questions for a topic that they knew very little about.
Yeah,
I was interviewing some of the girls for a project at the end, and quite a few of the girls actually said the Dream It, Be It career fair, they listed that as their favorite item at camp, because we open that, like, you know, when you ask them what they want to be, it's lawyer, doctor, accountant, and then we just open them up to all these jobs that they didn't even know existed. And so that was, yeah, so even though, you know, I didn't necessarily think it went over that well, clearly it did.
Yeah, because it did feel like we kind of threw pieces of it together. We didn't have the handouts. You know, it wasn't done the way it's supposed to be done, but it seemed like they took a lot out of it, which was very gratifying.
Yeah,
I agree. Megan and I were in the same group, and we had insurance and marketing, which were not subjects that were ever really thought about, I think, in Kenya. But both the girls and as we kept talking about it more and more, realized that interacts with their lives, and that is a way for them to consider something different, even while they're going to school. So to be something else. But insurance is a different animal in Kenya than it is in the United States and Canada. But what we thought was going to be super boring, they came up and asked questions about afterwards. So sometimes even before you know that something's going to be important to them, it becomes important just because they never thought about it before.
Yeah.
Amazing. So we do have a little bit of time here, and I know our other Connie is on the line. I know I saw Marissa, who is not a Soroptimist, but belongs to another NGO called 100 Humanitarians. I don't know if Connie P or Marissa.
And Shari, I
wanna
think
add?
Anna Durr is on, and also Kathy Coit
Oh,
And
Anna
Stephanie.
Durr, Kathy
and Stephanie.
Coit. If anybody else wants to add anything, if you want
And
to raise your hand with using the raise hand icon so I can see who you are.
Shailene is also
Oh
on,
yeah,
who was a
Charlene's also on the
past
call too.
attendee.
Yeah. So if does anybody want to say something from that group? Just use your little raise hand icon.
Anna put a hand up.
Anna? Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
I think one of the things about Dream It, Be It, I thought that talking about working for an NGO was something that the girls really were interested in, and many talked to me about it, and I would never have thought that they would be so interested. But of course, NGOs are big businesses in Africa and in Kenya especially. So the things that we don't know about their opportunities and they don't know about their opportunities was quite interesting. I think that talking to them about stress, which I did also, was really interesting to them. They wrote lots of notes I saw when I spoke, and I think that they just thought that was normal life. They didn't realize that you could do something about stress. So that was really important that we did use that component out of the Dream It, Be It. So I think lots of Soroptimists have opportunities to teach young women in Canada or in the United States about counseling like that. When you're a teenager, you don't realize that stress is a thing. Stress can make you sick. So I think of course, I love the whole program. I would recommend it to anybody, everybody. Oh, I think others probably have lots to say, so I'll hang up now. But anybody that wants to talk to me about the whole program, I'd love to gab personally.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Anna. Really appreciate that. I see Stephanie Beatty, who is also on our trip, is also interested in saying something. So
Hi, everybody. So good to see a bunch of your faces. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. First and foremost, I want to hats off to Khayanga and Sharon for just arranging everything. I mean, I think I haven't traveled a lot in the last several years, just working and raising my kids and whatnot. So to go on this kind of a trip, I was uneasy. I've never been to Africa. You hear things and I'm like, oh, is it going to be scary or whatnot? And they made me feel so safe and comfortable. And our travel agent, Joy, was amazing. And she had everything put together. And I just like, for anybody who's thinking about it, I mean, the logistics of the trip sometimes can be kind of scary and the unknown. And at least for me, it was. I don't know if anyone else like me, but I mean, I agree with everything about the leadership camp and the girls and all of that, but I just did want to highlight that aspect of the trip as well, because it can be the unknown. And I knew that I was like, oh, I didn't want to travel by myself. So definitely going into a group, I felt definitely safe. And then everyone was lovely and welcoming. And I think I've made some amazing friends and I love to see all their little faces right now. And just wanted to kind of throw that part out for anybody who's thinking maybe next year they might want to join.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Can I just add on to Stephanie one thing? In the career fair, Stephanie and I and Kathy Coit were doing IT, and Stephanie was doing graphic design, and a beautiful scarf she's designed. That was the highlight. Now they all want to be graphic designers because of Stephanie's scarf.
That's so true.
From Western Canada region, we're trying to get it so that we'll have that scarf available for sale at the next conference, because I loved it too.
Brilliant. Okay. I do have a few photos from the trip. I don't know if anybody wants to see some of the photos. I can share a little bit about that if people are interested.
Can I just add, just one quick, just before you get to the photos, for
Sure.
people who are considering coming, whilst it is an absolutely amazing experience, it's Kenya, it's not North America. So the hotels don't have elevators. It's like it can be a walk down a little path to a room that's not necessarily paved super well. Long journeys in bumpy cars. Water doesn't always work. Food is very, very basic. It's cabbage, beans, and rice 3 times a day with some boiled eggs at breakfast. It's very, very different to North America. And whilst for me, that's part of the experience, I don't think that it's going to be everybody's cup of tea. So it's one of those things that, like, you are leaving North America behind when you go to Kenya, and you just have to bear that in mind. And some of the things that we take for granted with the health and safety and various other things, it's not the same in Kenya as it is in North America. Just throwing that out as an aside.
Thank you. That was good. Very good point, actually, Megan. So I'm hoping that everybody can see my screen right now. This picture was taken at the Lugari Leadership Camp. This is the people that were part of the Soroptimist delegation, plus a couple of extra people, Marissa from 100 Humanitarians, and Adrian and Margaret from Willing Hearts International are also in the picture. There's Anita and from Days for Girls as well. So we've got a good delegation here represented. This is a couple of candid shots of the women on the trip. The photo on the left is taken at Sarova Lion Hills in Lake Nakuru, one of the safari places that we went to. And the other one is our meal tent at Khayanga's place, Bustani Siri, which was lovely every day to be eating out in the fresh air. So that was really terrific. This is the inside of the main tent where all the girls would gather for the main sessions at the Lugari Leadership Camp. 200 girls, super attentive, super excited to be there. I love these shirts that the girls wore that said, educate, enable, and empower, preparing women and girls to lead. And what's happening right now is something that happened so often while we were there, which was the girls are dancing and singing and getting ready to start a session. There is so much singing, so much dancing in Kenya, and it is just so joyful and amazing, and we loved it. The other picture with the girls, they were so excited to have their pictures with us. I have so many pictures of myself with the girls. They couldn't get enough of getting their pictures taken, and they were so fun. So I just love that.
Yeah. I said to Andrew, it's probably the nearest thing I'll ever feel to being famous. Everybody, they want to touch your hair. They're always trying to touch your hair because our hair feels very different.
Yeah.
You're constantly being looked at. There's never a time when there's people not looking at you. Not just at the camp, driving through the village, everywhere you are, like you're an anomaly, and people are looking at you, and it's like, and I said, oh my God, it's like a taste of being famous.
Yeah. So these are photos of Megan in her element, doing her yoga classes and running, and it was just an amazing, super fun experience to just be part of that. So yeah, the girls loved it, as you can tell. They're very excited to be there, as was Megan. Here's a couple of shots from our Dream It Be It presentations. Again, Just a really amazing experience to be able to all of us get together and do this. Just yeah, look at their faces. They're like so absorbed and just really interested in what's going on. Very curious.
Shari, I'm not sure what your pictures, but in the back you see that poster. One of our people, Nikki, that joined us, is a nurse. And so she did a special session on sex education, which I thought was really interesting for the girls.
It was great. And Nikki was amazing. Like, yeah, I guess,
She had them practicing how to say no.
Yes. Yeah. It was really, really good. Excellent presentation. So in addition, obviously, to the leadership camp, we were also there for the first anniversary of the Taui E Club, which was so amazing, so inspiring. And again, so full of dancing and music and just joy. It was so cool. And so there's a couple of pictures of the Taui E Club members. We already talked about Charlene and her amazing experience being part of the UN. Rahab, who is here in the picture, she is a high school teacher now, and she brought 10 girls to the camp. So she participated in 2012 as a camp attendee, and then came back this year and had 10 girls with her. So that just goes to show you what the power of these camps, and how they can really change lives. Very, very cool. One of the other things that we did was we went and did an awareness campaign about gender-based violence at this market, the next village over. And so we had a bunch of the Taui E Club girls, women. We had all the Soroptimists who came on this trip, and we went to this market and talked about gender-based violence. And that was a really interesting experience. I don't know if anybody wants to speak to that. If anybody has anything they want to add about that.
Well, I'll just say, when you put your clothing in those big bins that you don't want anymore, this is where they end up. And one of the gals, Winnie, who was top girl in 2012, I found her story very inspirational. She was raised in the slums in Nairobi. And as we drove through that area, the driver said, "Oh, once you're there, you never get out." She, I think the story was, she had 2 young siblings and her parents had died somehow. And she came to the camp. She now has a business where that clothing that comes from Canada gets sorted in Germany and comes to places like this in large bales where it's sold to the public, which I thought was interesting. She has another enterprise through India, and that's somebody who, because of the camp, has succeeded, and she's now a member of this club. I thought those stories, the stories of where these girls have come from, is truly amazing as the outcome of that camp.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was quite impressive that we did have a couple of men that came and talked and were supportive of this, which is not something that is a norm in Kenya. So the number of men that were supportive of not only their wives, their daughters, the school teachers, even the public for these types of program was extremely encouraging.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. The other thing that we did is we traveled to a neighboring community called Vihiga. It was about 2.5 hours away, something like that, 3 hours away from where we were staying. And the Vihiga Soroptimist Club had funded the room at the top, in the top photo. They funded the building of that room at this children's home. And so we had a lovely afternoon with the members from the Soroptimist Club of Vihiga, and there were a few Soroptimists from the Kisumu Club who also came. And yeah, we just had a really nice time there. Got to meet a bunch of the children from the children's home, and And it was just really nice to see a project that was done by Kenyan Soroptimists within their own community. So that
Being
was
Can I just-
chartered in
Megan.
March of 2020.
Yeah, Megan.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was 2020. Can I just speak to this? Because this orphanage really touched me. I was actually dreading going to an orphanage because you see some of the horrific pictures and what have you, but the children here, they were all well fed. You could tell they were well nourished and loved. You saw them interacting with the staff and interacting with us. You know, they were nervous at the beginning with us, but like they were happy and they were confident and they were nourished, and that kind of filled my heart. But when you were talking to the Soroptimists and the staff at this club, at this orphanage, speaking again to the uphill struggle that Kenyan girls have, most of the children at this orphanage are victims of products of incest. And if a baby is a product of incest, it's taboo and it gets discarded at birth. And so if they're lucky, the orphanage get involved straight away and can come and get the child. If not, then they're just sometimes just left by the side of the road. And a few of us commented that it was interesting that whilst incest isn't necessarily a taboo subject, the product of it is. And this really got through to my bones. So I've been reaching out to one of the women from this Soroptimist club, sending them some money for this, because one of the things is their drinking water is rainwater. The only water they can drink is what they can collect as rain. So they're trying to raise money for some water tanks so that they can store water and have enough water to drink when it rains. So for those of you who know me, and I'll maybe put it out on some of the other regions, in my birthday in May, I'm going to be doing maybe a little bit of a GoFundMe. They need 3,500, I think, Canadian for a water tank. So I'm going to see if we can try and get some of the money towards that, because what this Soroptimist club are doing with this orphanage is just, it blew my socks off.
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely. And just as a little aside, my daughter convinced me that in order to go to Kenya, I should learn some Swahili so that I would be able to converse a little bit with the locals. And I'm pleased to report that my kindergarten Swahili worked really well with the kindergartners at the orphanage. We were able to have a really good conversation about what our names were and where we were from. So that was good. And I did just throw in a few photos from the safari. I showed these pictures to a couple of people at work and things, and people asked me, was this photoshopped and did I take it? And the answer is no, it is not photoshopped. And yes, I did take this photo. This is what it looked like on safari with those balloons at sunrise. It was truly amazing.
Tail up.
When we
Yeah,
started off the safari, we
Taylor.
went to the first place we stopped was this place called Lake Naivasha, and we went out on these little, very rickety little boats down a even more rickety little dock to get to them. We didn't die, so that's good. And it was actually a very quick but pretty cool experience to be out in these little boats. And this is what we saw. We actually saw these amazing hippopotami that were basking on the banks of the lake. Amazing shorebirds, and yeah, it was a very cool experience to be there. Then we went to Lake Nakuru, which has a national park, a game reserve at it. Just amazing scenery here, and we saw things like this. And when we were in our little the little vans driving around, like, we're on this dirt road, and 20 feet away from us is a giraffe, right? Like, it's just right there in our faces. Pretty amazing. Rhinoceroses, can you believe it? Like, and these guys, we had seen a couple of rhinos earlier, but they were way in the distance, and even with my zoom lens on my camera, they still looked super teeny. But these guys were just like right there in front of us. Pretty amazing. We also saw Cape buffalo at Lake Nakuru, and in the background is a massive flock of pelicans. Normally, Lake Nakuru is also famous for having massive flocks of flamingos, but they had already taken off by the time we got there. We did see our first lion at Lake Nakuru, but that was not the last of the lions that we would see.
I was surprised that you put that photo. I'm like, oh my God, there's way better photos, but yeah, that's
Yes,
later.
yes. So then we went to Masai Mara, and Masai Mara, the place that we stayed there was just freaking amazing. I don't have any pictures of it, but it was really amazing. But the views, the vistas, stunningly gorgeous.
Again, if you go on Soroptimist Tri-Cities, I did a video of one of our tents.
Of the tents, yeah. So cool. So cool. But again, we saw more lions. And the top left-hand photo gives you a bit of an idea of how close we were, because where you see the vehicles on that side, we were about the same distance away on the other side from those lions. And they just really didn't care that we were there. They were just like, yeah, whatever. So this was lovely to get to see the little the cubs and the mums just kind of hanging out and playing, and that was very sweet. But then the next day, this is what we saw. So we saw a large pride of lions who'd taken down 2 Cape buffaloes, and this is like the end result of that. They were, yeah, again, we were about the same distance away. We were super close to these guys as well, and they really could not have cared less that we were right there beside them. We also saw very close to where those lions were, this large a group of elephants. In this picture, I believe there are 13 or 14 elephants. And to be driving along and come over the crest of a hill and boom, there's all these elephants. It was really pretty spectacular. And yes, this is how we saw them. You can see in that one photo where how close we were to them as well. And you gotta love the babies. They're so cute, right? I know, Stephanie. So the one picture where Stephanie is pointing at the tree, that is what most of us could see of where this leopard was. The bottom photo shows you the main photo. There's like a line in the middle of it where the leopard is, and then I've blown up the leopard's face really big so people can actually see. Yes, there was a leopard in that tree. I do have photographic evidence of it, but only I had a lens that was big enough to capture the leopard. Everybody else mostly just got a picture of a tree. We also saw 2 cheetahs who, according to our guide, were brothers. And that was pretty cool as well. And you can see, look how close they are to the vehicles in that bottom photo. Like it was really amazing to be that close to these cheetahs. Just a fantastic experience. We saw hyenas, we saw an ostrich, we saw these topies, which are a really interesting creature. Our guide said what they call them is blue jeans and yellow socks, because they kind of look like they're blue on their haunches and then yellow on their feet. So very interesting creatures. Other random creatures that we saw: wildebeest, hartebeest, 2 different kinds of gazelles, the Thompson's gazelle that has a McDonald's M on its butt, and the Grant's gazelle that does not. So guys, we saw more hippopotamuses. We went on this, the only time we were actually out of a vehicle walking was along the banks of the Mara River, where we saw these colonies of hippos. And we were on the Kenyan side of the river. On the other side of the bank was Tanzania, and that was pretty cool. The hippo colonies, there's usually between about 15 and 25 hippos in a colony, and the males on the side of the riverbank where we were would leave a huge deposit of dung and piss where that would mark their territory, and so the colony would stay within their little section on the walk. And so our guides had big rifles to protect us from, in case there was a hippo that got really territorial, and also from the crocodiles. So that was fun. Yeah, see, here's a crocodile up on the top there. We also saw this really interesting little lizard that our guide said he called it the push-up guy, because he does a very interesting little mating dance that looks like he's doing push-ups.
Yeah.
We also saw a chameleon. Yeah, so those are some shots from the safari, and then I also took a few street photos as well. This is to me, one of the most fascinating things about driving on Kenyan roads is like on a highway, how many pedestrians would be walking along the side of the road. There was always pedestrians on what we would consider a major highway, where you would not see pedestrians at all. And of course, lots and lots of motorcycles with many passengers and tons of cargo. Always, there could be an amazing amount of cargo carried on a motorcycle. When we were in Masai Mara and the area around there, there's lots of Maasai people. The color red is super important to them. You would see lots and lots of people in red just out and about. This picture I really love because it features these three young Maasai warriors in their traditional Maasai outfits, just hanging out roadside with a bunch of guys on motorcycles. So this is in the heart of Maasai territory. And yeah, I just thought that was pretty cool.
Chari, can I add to that?
Sure.
So these warriors are actually called Moran warriors, and they are on their like proving journey. So they dress like that, and they leave home, and they wander all throughout the area, and they might go to a village to get a meal or spend the night, but oftentimes they are out in the wilderness fending for themselves. And they used to do this for a period of like 2 to 5 years. But now, because kids are in school and stuff, now they usually only do it for maybe 2 to 3 months. So the time that we were there, when they're out of school, is when you see them most often.
Oh, that's really cool. Thanks for that, Marissa. Yeah, it was very interesting to see them there. So thank you for that insight. One of the gates into Masai Mara is in this little right beside this little town called Talek, and we all really loved the fact and were struck by the fact that they had this tiny little Hard Rock Cafe in Talek that as you can see, is put together with corrugated tin and sticks, and we are pretty sure is not an authorized franchise, but we really enjoyed that. And then just down the road from that were this group of donkeys. You would see donkeys roadside everywhere in Kenya, in rural Kenya, and even actually on the outskirts of Nairobi, there was a lot of donkeys. Sometimes they would be with carts, and sometimes just like this. So yeah, it was very interesting. This was another very common sight along the roadside, would be these sort of shanty business areas, and all made of like, corrugated tin and plywood kind of thing. Safari.com is the largest cell phone provider in Kenya. M-Pesa is like their version of Venmo. And sometimes these little businesses would actually be Safari.com or M-Pesa suppliers. Sometimes Safari.com and M-Pesa would just pay to have the signs put up, but they would be everywhere. And you'd often see like this little place that says Eden Place Restaurant. The restaurants all have names like Paradise, Eden, Blessing, all over the place. So very, very common sight in Kenya were these little businesses. Yeah, and that is that's the end of the little slideshow, just to give you a little taste of what we saw in Kenya.
The other
In the
opportunity
background.
we had, Chari, was visiting the Maasai village, where
Right.
the Maasai people lived in their little dirt floor huts, and finding out that the chief had 17 wives, and if you had to know who he was going to sleep with on any particular night, he would lay his red sheathed machete on the bed of that woman, and then she would know to expect the chief that night. That was quite interesting. We also had some cultural experiences with Khayanga's mother, who visited us. She's 88 now, I think, Khayanga, is that right? And close enough anyway. And she was explaining to us as a young girl how matchmaking happened and so on and so forth. So that was a really interesting experience for us also. So lots of culture.
Lots of culture. Okay. So yeah, I just want to open it up to questions if anybody has anything they want to ask. Or
and can I just say one more thing too? And I would say that with the interest in this project and with the funding coming from the foundation, I would encourage clubs to really think about their donations to the Soroptimist Foundation of Canada, because knowing that they've made this commitment for 5 years, I think that's a good feature.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sharon.
I was wanting to encourage Connie Panika to talk. She seemed to have something to say, and she has not yet been encouraged.
Yeah, Connie, if you want to say anything, please feel free.
Maybe we lost her.
Yeah.
How about Shailene?
Oh, yeah, Shailene, are you still here?
I just saw movement. There she is. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be on the call with you all. I feel so much love in my heart. As Chari was doing the presentation, I was just looking at the photos and I'm like, oh my God, this time those 2 weeks went out so fast. Everything went so fast. I just want to go back. Thank you very much for visiting our country and making it possible for the Dream It, Be It program. You can see the products, as Sharon says, dream it. If there's no door, create one, but just make sure you get in the room. So yeah, I'm pretty excited, and also for joining us in our 1-year anniversary as Tawi E-Club. I'm just happy. I'm just a happy girl, and thank you for having me in this call. Thank you.
Oh,
I
well,
just
we are
want to
excited that you
point.
could join us, Shailene. It's really good to see you for sure.
I just want to point out, Shailene is our Soroptimist youth delegate at the United Nations in Nairobi. So we are honoured to have you, and a past participant of this club that we're working with.
Yeah.
So she's really going places. And she's asked that me and her are going to climb Mount Kenya next time I'm back in Kenya, hopefully next year.
Amazing. So good.
Has Kathy got anything to say? She loves to be put on the spot, doesn't she?
I'm not very good at impromptu speaking. But yeah, I'm just delighted to see everybody. Memories of the wonderful time that we had. I'm so glad that you guys had a good time and enjoyed the had an interesting experience of Kenya. In fact, I was just today I'm in Nairobi in my flat in a very posh part of Nairobi, and we have no water. So hopefully we'll have water tomorrow, maybe if we're lucky. But that's the joys of living in Kenya. Had a lovely day this afternoon with a young man I've been helping at high school, and we, as his treat for finishing his exams, we just went to the safari walk and reunited myself with a lot of the animals there, which was nice. So I've had a great day. But yeah, I'm hoping to look forward to everybody coming out again next year. And the girls' school, I've been involved with it, with the girls' camp since 2019 now, or 2018, I think the first time I went there. And it's just an amazing experience. And when you see what we achieve with that, what Khayanga puts together, we did a little bit of a fun certificates for everybody when we finished, and I realized that what I didn't put on Khayanga's certificate and what I should have done is that Khayanga's the one who makes it happen. For all of us, she's the one that makes it happen, and I just wanted to thank her. Without her, none of this would happen, and I just want to congratulate her. Thank you.
And Kathy, it always takes somebody to start it off. And Kathy is from Great Britain, but lived in the US and working in IT for a number of years, was a member in Golden West region, I think.
Yes.
And,
Connie.
where she became a Soroptimist and is on the chat line, and Colleen Penrowley's on the chat line. And they started talking, and all of a sudden discovered that Khayanga was living close to Colleen and close to myself, where we live. And that's how the connection happened to get this all started. So thank you, Kathy, for that.
I would add on that and say the camp wouldn't be the camp without Kathy. Kathy is very instrumental, and I can't do without her. I think she and I make one human being that is very, very honorable, because she just, she compliments me in a very huge way. She does things that I would never be able to do. So this camp is very successful. I would like to mention to everyone because of Kathy. Yeah. Kathy, thank you so much for your wonderful volunteer work. And you work day and night to make sure that the camp goes on very well, Kathy. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And there's a lot of others that are also involved. And I think while we're here and we're complimenting people, where's Megan? Because she took on the wonderful job of being taxi driver. Where we were staying and where the camp are about 2 kilometers apart. And Megan very kindly took on driving. She took my car and she drove backwards and forwards the whole day. And I thank her very much for that. I'd have been driven crazy if I had to have done all the driving she did. So thank you.
It was fun. Driving on Kenyan roads is an experience, and I actually miss it. It's boring driving on Canadian roads. It really is. No, there's no adventure.
Sue Riney, do you have anything to say?
Oh, actually,
sorry.
Sharon Smith had her hand raised. So I'm just gonna get Sherry to.
I just have a question. Just being the menstrual equity warrior that I am and the period poverty advocate, can you kind of talk a little bit about that aspect of the camp when you spoke about menstrual equity and just menstruation, all that stuff, and I see that Days for Girls was there too, and just kind of just a little bit of an update on that.
Well, Khayanga's the Kenyan rep for Days for Girls, so probably she's a good person to answer that.
Thank you so much, Sherry, for asking that question. I think it's very important that we all know as women that menstruation is one thing that cannot stop. And once it starts, it doesn't stop. And just to share that the girls in developing countries, I'm just saying not only Kenya, are very, very disadvantaged when it comes to getting their just basic solutions for their menstrual hygiene management challenges. And so we have girls who have ended up becoming young mothers even at the age of 12 because of being compromised. In fact, our youngest mother in the country was 10 when she got the baby, so she got pregnant at 9. And when we asked, we went up to and visited her village, and when we asked, it's because she was compromised by a motorcycle rider whom her parents had hired to drop her at school every day. And when she got her periods, she was afraid of telling her mother or her father about the periods. And so she told the motorcycle rider that she couldn't sit on the motorcycle because she was having her periods, she was bleeding. And he took her somewhere, he hid her, and he started having sex with her at 9. And by the time she was 10, telling her that he had solutions on how to stop the menstruation. And when he got her pregnant, she did not menstruate again. And he made her feel very happy that she was pregnant. She was not menstruating. She was not seeing her periods. And we have so many stories of that nature. So one of the things that the Soroptimists, when we're doing the camp, part of the funds that are raised, they go to distributing or giving a girl a menstrual kit that the girl uses for 4 years. So if she gets the kit at the camp, then 4 years after the camp, she has this product that she can continue using during her menstruation. They are reusable, washable menstrual pads that we give to the girls. And yeah, it's one of those things. And so we have so many girls in the communities that are teen mothers right now. I even have a group of teen mothers who got pregnant at age 13, 14, 15. Some of them were sent out of their homes by their parents. They have nowhere to live now. They're living behind shops, continuing to sell themselves for sex to be able to provide food for their children. I had a meeting with a group that I am supporting now the day before yesterday, and it's just really, really heartbreaking to hear that it was just because they did not have a menstrual pad that they went to ask for help. And in the end, they were made to pay back for whatever pads they were given, and they didn't see their periods next time because they were pregnant. So Chari, thank you for asking. I am part of Days for Girls, that I'm the chair of the Days for Girls board and been the country representative for several years. I helped to start Days for Girls Kenya. And throughout the process that we've been having all the education components that come with it, it's amazing what we hear in schools. And now it's even getting worse. You go to a school, they have maybe 800 students, and maybe 15 to 25 of them are pregnant, and they're between ages 13 and 15. It's really, really heartbreaking, and it's happening. And mostly when you ask them, it is just because of asking someone to buy the pad for them, that they end up paying back using their bodies for sex in exchange for the pad, and they get pregnant. So yeah, that's the challenge. But we are working on it. And as Soroptimists, I think it's one of the things that we cannot avoid to give the girls during the camp such a protection, because I call it the scholarship 101. It's the first scholarship you can give to a girl. Keep her safe so she can stay in school. So even you pay her school fees and you haven't protected her from the prey becoming a prey, then still you will lose her if you don't give her pad to be able to protect herself. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if that doesn't speak to the obstacles that the girls face and the value that we have in supporting this project, I don't know what does.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Does anybody else have anything? It's 11:30 and I'm cognizant of everybody's time. So I just want to make sure that nobody else has anything they want to add.
I do have something to say.
Certainly, please.
Thank you so much. My name is Washera Mwangi. I'm from Kenya. So I just want to say thank you for going to Kenya to support the leadership camp. And I am one of the girls that Khayanga has mentored. I'm currently living in Canada, and I can't thank you, Khayanga Wasike. So thank you so much. I feel so humbled.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate that.
Where in Canada are you? And it's Darlene from, I'm the chair of the Sharing Stories. And I'd like some feedback about what you'd like to hear for next year. And thank you, Governor Chari, for organizing the last two calls. And we've been doing these calls since from 2022.
Where in Canada is she?
I am in Toronto. I am the secretary for Toronto Club.
Okay.
Excellent.
Good.
Great.
And just to add on, Monica, when she was still in Kenya, she participated in the leadership camp as a matron, as a assistant coordinator, and she always accompanied the students from her community, which is far away. She comes from around Nairobi, I think, and she would come with students that the parents would have said, no, they can't travel on their own. And then they would all have to be lumped together so that she could travel with them to the camp and return them safe back to the parents. And I'm glad that you made it to Canada, and I'm so grateful that you became a Soroptimist and you've continued doing the service.
Great.
Thank you so much. And it's to be able to mentor people like you. When I see that, I'm very happy. Thank you.
Awesome. Donna Webb, did you have?
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm on somebody else's computer. Yes?
Yep.
Okay. I'd just like to thank you. I'm just so impressed by what you're doing and by this presentation. I've been Rotarian for years, and this is the same kind of quality as Rotarians. So congratulations. It's brilliant. And thanks very much for the women in Africa who are helping us, giving hands up. So I'm almost overwhelmed by this presentation. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Donna. Appreciate that. So I have Elizabeth.
Yeah, I think Liz was next.
Yeah.
Hi, good morning, all of you, or wherever you are. Hello. I am not in the background here. That's my trip to New Zealand. I have a question for you. Sharon, you mentioned contributing to the Canadian Federation. Or the foundation. I'm wondering, has this been submitted, or how do we get it to the SI Foundation? I'm from SI Whittier, California. And I know the Desert Coast region, Pat Whitaker represented us, our region, going on this trip. Is there any way we could get the rest of the world or the global perspective involved in this project that's so worthy? Let me know.
Such a good question. I did speak with them before we started fundraising for this year, and they didn't seem interested and didn't have any capacity to do anything, no application forms, etc. And because of the timing, we needed to move much quicker than that because we had to give Khayanga a commitment by April, May timeframe so she could get her wheels turning for the camp. Because when you're the 100% funder for the camp, you have to be sure that when you make a commitment, it's a commitment. And so we raised the money privately through clubs in your vicinity mostly. And from there, approached the foundation. And I felt like if we can get half the money for 5 years, we can then speak with the SI Foundation and see if they've changed their policies at all. It's a bit challenging because when a club in the US donates to SI, they donate through SIA. And there's this whole designation of project problem that occurs, and nobody's got the technology to say, okay, that's for this. So this year, the money was collected in the US and then forwarded directly to the registered charity in Canada. We're encouraging people to donate to the foundation, but we also want to see if we can get something in the US where they have the capacity to donate differently or through the SI Foundation. That's something we're working on now. I hope that answers your question, and you know where to find me. You can talk to me.
I started to send you an email, and I thought this is a good venue to discuss it. Many of you are already aware of what's going on. And being in Dublin, it was brand new, the foundation and starting. So when you've got a 5-year project, something can happen. And
I
that's
think so
where,
too.
and
I've
my
got a
heart's
meeting with Bobby
ahead.
Enderlin tomorrow, so that'll be interesting because she's just going on the SI board.
Yeah, because I love Soroptimist International. I've got a great club, but it's the international aspects that I've learned so much. And I'm planning, if I'm accepted, to go to the Commission on Status of Women this year because I retired last month. And
Ooh.
I have time to go and do things that I've never been able to accomplish. So I'm excited. Anyway,
Great.
you guys have a great day. Thanks for your answers. And Sharon, we'll talk later.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, Elizabeth, we're also working in the Golden West region to try to figure out how we can interact with this. I know the coastal region is also looking into ways that we can try to get SIA to let us do some sort of fundraising. But there are hurdles with SIA.
Delphine, I see that you had your hand raised. Was there something that you wanted to add? And
thank you, Chari. It's nice to see all of you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Yeah, sorry, I can't put on my camera. I have issues with internet connection. I'm sure you understand now that you were in Kenya a few weeks ago. It's a challenge.
Sure.
It's very interesting to actually experience Kenya through the eyes of the international community. I've been watching the presentations, the photos and everything, and I'm like, okay, so this is how Kenya is. So it's very, very interesting to see that perspective of how you experienced Kenya. And what I can say that whatever you are doing as Soroptimists internationally, it is such a wonderful, wonderful contribution. I don't have words for it. Secondly, I'm so happy to see Washera from SI Toronto. Washera is a Kenyan who is currently a member of Toronto. And I just wanted to give her a shout out because she is the link between Toronto and Kisumu. And right now, she's so involved with 4 girls who are being sponsored by Toronto and being mentored by SI Club of Kisumu. So that international perspective is so, so wonderful. And what I can say, Soroptimists, that gift of friendship is priceless. Let us guard it jealously. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Delphine. And I do see Sue Riney. Her hand is raised as well.
Yes,
What did you
thanks
want
for hosting this today. I had the pleasure and honor of going last year to the camp, and as you probably saw, I was living vicariously through all your pictures on Facebook every day, looking for what you'd posted. It was one of the most memorable experiences of my life to be a part of that camp, and you can hear the enthusiasm and love and motivation and inspiration from everyone who's spoken. And I'm glad to hear that there's funding from the Canada Foundation for the next 5 years. And for many possibly on this call, there'll be that opportunity to go. I encourage you to think about what you're hearing as a result of the hands-on aspect of doing the work that is speaking to people. And if you can't if Africa isn't on your ability to remember to do those hands-on experiences within your clubs, because it is truly where we can see the impact of our work. That's again a reminder for me. But I'd like to hear maybe just briefly, you may not even be talking about it yet, Sharon and Khayanga, of after a couple of years of Soroptimists there participating, if you see a way or opportunities, avenues to engage the Soroptimists in any different way in the coming camps.
Can you explain that a little bit deeper?
Is there anything different? I mean, I know we did Dream It, Be It twice. Is there any other way to engage the Soroptimists while there that had come to mind while you were part of it?
Well, what we did this time was we asked each participant what skills they had that might be useful at the camp. So Khayanga and I would share that. So that's where Megan's yoga class came in. and Nikki, with being a nurse, did a whole section on sex education. And everybody had something different. Marissa being with us this time was interesting because the girls were taught how to make garden towers so they could feed a family for a week and still have some left to sell. So there was those pieces brought to it. Khayanga, what else?
And
I did
Marissa,
the fire drill.
Marissa taught the underwear, the sewing of the underwear. I know Megan calls them knickers. We call them underwear, panties. So this is the third or fourth time that we are doing the same thing. And it comes out really, really wonderful because the girls report back and say they were able to go to their own communities and sew underwears for the young sisters and nieces, and they give the young girls freedom to play, because when they don't have underwear, they can't play. And I think this is really, really huge for us. And it's very humbling to know that the things we are teaching the girls during the camp are really working in the communities. They go and teach their mothers, their aunties on how to sew the underwears from old t-shirts. And it's just one of those things that, so thank you so much, Marissa. Marissa is from Salt Lake City in Utah. She's with 100 Humanitarian, and we've been working with 100 Humanitarian in helping the girls to learn how to sew the underwear, how to do food security by planting vegetables in vertical gardens, which is, we call them garden towers. And also we are introducing also another washable, reusable menstrual pad called Hope Kit. And we're already giving it to women in the community and to their daughters, and things are working out. We're just really addressing the basic serious challenges that the women and girls are facing. Thank you.
And then the other thing, Chari did a fire drill because it had come to her attention. There was fires at the schools and boarding houses, and they had never even heard what a fire drill was. So she did a formal fire drill and taught them how to do that. And the other thing that wasn't mentioned is all the girls in the camp go home with a project in mind that they're going to introduce in their community with 15 of their friends, both in the school and the community. And then they report back, and the leaders in that come back the next year and share their success. And one thing that was quite impactful, the girl on the television news broadcast that was speaking that we couldn't hear well, her and another girl who were top girls last year, they both came back and they were telling what they'd done. And the one girl went to speak and she had all the Muslim gear on. She comes from up near the Somalia border and she couldn't speak because she was in tears. So the other girl asked if she could speak for her because they were now friends from the camp. And she explained that she was emotional because she was the first girl, the first person in her entire family that had ever had the privilege of going to school. And she was studying really hard, but it was really hard to concentrate because of the bullets that were flying around during her study time. So that was the kind of inspiration you get when you think, oh, I guess we're making a difference. And every girl gets a Days for Girls kit when she leaves the camp.
And just also to add on it that the two girls that you saw on television, they are both recipients of scholarships from our new baby club, Tawi. They are sponsoring the two girls with the scholarships for them to continue with the education. So you can imagine they are new 1 year old, and they were able to pick up the two girls, one from Turkana, where we're talking about where she couldn't make it to school if she wasn't assisted. And here is the Tawi Club sponsoring her and also sponsoring the other girl who was speaking on her behalf. So I think we're doing something as Soroptimists. Everybody needs to give a big hand and big clap on their shoulder. We're doing wonderful things. Thank you.
And April is the chair of the Canadian Soroptimist Foundation of Canada and was unable to speak during our meeting when we were discussing the funding. So I'm curious to hear from her.
Yeah, April, would you like to?
Yes, I'd just like to say hello to everyone, and I've mentioned it in the comments, but it is so enlightening to hear more about this project and in depth. I just wanted to thank Sharon for her presentation during our annual general meeting about 3 weeks ago. And yeah, I think that you know, there's a huge future, of course, looking at the impact of this project. The board is represented today. We have at least, we have about 4 board members present from the Soroptimist Foundation of Canada. So we are invested in this project. And we would encourage certainly Canadians to, well, anyone, Canadians, their friends, their contacts, to make contributions to the foundation. And of course, you will receive a tax receipt for your contributions. But going forward, we'd like to encourage that, because through this presentation today and through your presentation during the annual general meeting of the foundation, as I said, we're learning more about the impact of this project and the work that Soroptimists are doing in our communities, nationally and internationally. And the enthusiasm that was conveyed today and how people feel about their contribution on the ground is clearly evident. So Chari, thank you for making your presentation and for all the contributions and the opportunities through this kind of platform that we're learning about the opportunities and what Soroptimists are doing. I think it's contagious. You know, the enthusiasm is contagious. We're seeing the impact. And yeah, so thank you, Sharon. And I'm sure we'll have conversations in the future. Thank you so much for those people on the ground in Kenya and for the people that we heard from today.
And we'll be in touch. We want to see what we can put on your website.
Yes, it's something that we need to shout about for sure.
Yeah, so we'll be in touch on that like fairly quick. I think Megan's working on that. So
brilliant. Thank you so much, April.
Sorry.
Marissa has something that she would like to share with us.
Yeah, being one of the people who got to experience this camp with all of you wonderful ladies from Soroptimists, but not being part of Soroptimists, I just wanted to say that you guys are amazing, and it was a joy and a pleasure to get to know each of you and to work together on many of the projects that happened at the camp, and the work that you guys are doing as an organization is wonderful and amazing. And I just wanted to let you guys know that I was very impressed with what you all have brought to the table in this project. And a shout out to Khayanga for bringing us all together to have that experience, because it was wonderful.
Thanks, Marissa. And you know what? Ditto. We were so pleased to get to know you as well, and all the work that 100 Humanitarians is doing. And yeah, anyway, we love you. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so it is 10 to 12, and I just would love to thank everyone so much for attending today, to all of our panelists for their participation, for other ad hoc speakers who joined in and said something. I can't stress enough how amazing this experience has been, how thankful I am to have participated in this. And I know that the women who I met on this trip will be lifelong friends. And yeah, I'm very, very happy that we were able to share this experience with all of you today. So thank you.
As Khayanga told us, come to Kenya and fall in love.
Yes.
We all fell in love.
Absolutely.
Not just with Kenya, but with everybody else too.
Yeah,
and
100%.
And if you can't come at the time the camp is happening, you're welcome to come at any other time. Don't just wait and say, I couldn't go to the camp. There are always many activities happening in the community, and we're just servants. And there is a lot of other avenues that you can be able to serve through. And you can see Megan has fallen in love with the orphanage. You can fall in love with the widows. You can fall in love with teen mothers. You can fall in love with something else. You can't miss what to do. And even just visiting other clubs and seeing what they're doing. So please, you're welcome any time of the year. Just let me know, and I'll be here to host you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And when I come to Canada, I'll be able to meet many of you also, because for those who don't know, I'm Canadian. I've been in Canada for almost 30 years. So I'm just moving back home to Kenya to be part of the change that I would like to see happening. So I am relocating back home, and that's why I have two homes right now. I have a home in Vancouver and I have a home in the village in very rural Kenya. So welcome to Kenya anytime. And yeah, so let's have the open door, open heart, open mind for each other, so that we can just be able to visit anytime.
And Khayanga, I should also offer that you're typically in Vancouver in around the August-September timeframe. So if any clubs want to have a gathering of any sort, that's the time frame. And I suspect she comes to Vancouver for the Willing Hearts AGM. So that's an opportunity for an event.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharon, for mentioning that. Thank you.
Great, folks. Well, I am going to tell everyone to have a wonderful rest of your day or good night. And thank you again for your participation. It's lovely.
Hugs.
Merry Christmas.
Bye. Merry Christmas. And let's